Testing, testing. Are we going to be able to stop the video without a crash? Pausing, resuming, stopping. Okay, so it looks like we got some division in the fan base here. So, when I say, just to be clear, when I say I don't want to play Thief, I don't mean like I want to play something else. I mean, I don't want to play anything. I don't want to let's play anything. I'd rather just talk about shit that's unrelated to the game. So I guess what I'm saying is I want to have a podcast. So let's talk about music. You know, I've always liked music, end statement. Bye. So back when I was, I don't know, in my mid-teens, I guess, I was a pretty huge metalhead. Because I'd sort of discovered metal kinda late after having listened to like really crappy, you know, new metal stuff. Because I didn't realize there was anything better. And then my stepdad gave me his box of old tapes from the 80s, and it had tons of metal like Maiden and Priest and Sabbath. I listened to, I think, like Powerslave. It was either Powerslave or it was the first Maiden album, self-titled, that I listened to. But Powerslave, I remember listening, and I was like, holy shit, this whole album is great. Like, every song is great. There's not any filler even. Although maybe there is a couple of fillers on Powerslave, but whatever. Like, you know, because I didn't know that was possible. I literally thought that it's just the breaks that bands put out, like one or two songs you like, and you buy the album, and like one or two songs are great, and the rest are like, eh. And I listened to this classic metal, I'm like, oh my god, this sounds like nothing I had ever heard. Like Bruce Dickinson's vocals, it was like otherworldly. And I remember listening to the Ram It Down album by Judas Priest and hearing the, I think it was the heavy metal verses where Halford's like screaming and he's like vocal doubled, and I'm like, I have not heard anything like this before. This sounds like some kind of demonic children's choir or something. Amazing. So I became a huge metalhead, and I got on this one sort of metal community forum, well, a couple different forums. It was the same group of people, and the good thing was it was a really tight-knit community. It was like a family. The not-so-good thing was it was pretty elitist about metal, pretty exclusionist. Like, I was a rap, you know, I liked rap, and I was rapping even back then. And they were kind of begrudging about that, like, okay, you like rap, man, but, like, nobody liked rap. It was all just metal, and, like, heaven forbid you mention pop or anything, right? Like, you dead if you mention pop. Not allowed. Bubblegum, not allowed. It's gotta be metal. It's gotta be freaking complex, just like Justice up in here, right? And eventually I realized that was stupid. Like, I kind of, you know, I kind of played along with it, like, yeah, it's gotta be metal, but I never really was like that at heart. I've always just liked all kinds of music. And so, you know, recently in my videos, I've been sometimes name dropping Maximum the Hormone, which is a Japanese metal band, metal along with like a bunch of other genres, who I really, really like, partly, well, I mean, because they're just really good, and also because they blend genres in with their metal and punk and whatever the heck else they play. And, so, and of course, me having been a hardcore brony for many years, and listening to brony music, which is like an incredible variety of genres. You know, I'm pretty primed for, you know, giving anything a chance. Like, I really just don't give a shit what people think anymore, right? I'm 33, now I know what you're thinking. Fan, you just had a birthday. Shut up, I'm 33, and I don't care what people think about my musical taste anymore, I just like what's good. Honestly, it's great not being a teenager anymore, right? So, like with Maximum the Hormone, it's kind of like there's metal, but it's like punk or hardcore. I don't even know exactly what hardcore is in terms of genres of music, but some kind of punk thing, I guess. It's, you know, heavy music, but they got a male clean vocalist, a male scream, like, rough vocalist, and then a female J-pop vocalist who's also the freaking drummer, and then they got a guy who plays slap bass, so it's like funk, and it sounds amazing. So, like, you'd think that when I somehow, I don't even remember how I found them, but I somehow came across baby metal, like, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. Maybe I was just looking for Japanese metal bands and I came across them or something. I don't even know how I would have, but you'd think I would have been like, this is awesome right off the start, right? Because it's like, you got your, you know, super fluffy vocals, and you got metal. But instead I was just like, this metal sounds a bit generic, which is kind of funny, because most people would be like all freaking out about the combination of genres or something, but I was just like, no, that's great, but it's like the music could stand to be like a little bit more. So that's what I thought. Pretty hilarious, right? But then I was listening to them recently, and I was like, actually, this is really good, because, like, you know how sometimes you think that you are not elitist anymore, but then you still are, but you don't realize it, you know? So I looked at one of their videos. This was like the 3 or 4 years back, and yeah, it was a live video, and I can't remember it. Maybe it was Headbanger. I can't remember what song it was, though. But yeah, like, I looked at their live performance, and I remember going like, so they're like 3 members, and they got like a session band behind them, and like only one of them singing, and I'm like, they should all be singing and playing instruments, or it's not a real band. And like, yeah, now I'm like, wait a minute, yeah, that's pretty stupid. So, I've come to appreciate, like, dance choreography more recently, I guess is what I'm saying, because I'm, after always being a music guy and thinking of, like, dancing as just something you incidentally do in music, and I'm just like, no, wait a minute, this dancing is, like, a song in visual form. It's pretty great. So, what else was I going to say that was, like, way more interesting than music? The first album I heard was the Flashdance soundtrack. Pretty great. Oh yeah, because I've been doing music stuff myself really. Yeah, so, I guess that was a whole soliloquy. Okay, yeah, so I finally fixed it up so that my mic doesn't drift sync when I try to stream and all that. So, I've got a set. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm building a set. Still haven't decided exactly what songs to put in. Got a couple of new ones. And so I'm thinking of just performing a bunch online, you know, like, now's the time for it. Everybody's freaking streaming. And also everybody's bought up all the audio interfaces. Dude, I love this sort of chat, me chatting to the ether, talking to myself, and it's cool because it won't be talking to myself in a minute or in a few hours. I don't like editing videos. It's like, not so fun. But, yeah, so that's what I'm considering doing, and I could even take my 3 monitors that I have and run some kind of cheesy visualizer on them with, like, I don't know, with them being mostly blocked out by my head and shoulders. It's great. Maybe I should get a green screen, because, like, there's no place here to even have a blank wall. There's no blank walls here at all. They've all got greebles on them. But yeah, I think I may or may not have said before, but when I was growing up, I grew up, you know, before music was all over the internet, before you could just go look it up on YouTube and just play it all the time or whatever. If you wanted music and you didn't have any money, which you didn't if you were a kid, literally the only choice you had was whatever cassette tapes, yes, cassette tapes, were lying around the house. So, you know, growing up, my mom was a dance teacher, so she would have, like, dance music tapes, and she would have dance music tapes with, like, cheesy 90s dance mixes and stuff, you know, like those Dance Mix 90 whatevers. And then she would have, like, Celine Dion and Sophie B. Hawkins and Annie Lennox. I actually kind of liked Annie Lennox, but the other, yeah. So the only choice I had for music that was, like, slightly less worse than the other kind of music to me was the cheesy dance mix stuff. So I would listen to them, and it had, like, Technotronic and 2 Unlimited. And I remember it was the Technotronic song, Move It to the Rhythm. That was the song with the first rap that I had ever heard. So I listened to that, and I remember the rap verses coming on and thinking, again, like, dude, I've never heard anything like this before. This sounds so cool with the rhythm. And the thing is, this kind of set in motion what I like in rap too, because I didn't understand most of the lyrics. Probably because A, rap is just kind of hard to understand in the first place, and B, because, you know, audio quality wasn't great back then. You know, nobody's stereo was good, nobody's headphones were good, and you had whatever junk you had. So I didn't understand most of what Yaki K was saying there, but I fell in love with just the sound. And that's why I always go for flow and sound first, and why it took me so long to develop, like, good writing, why my writing sucked so bad for so long, because I was just, like, always concentrating on the flow. I was like, kiss the dirt, diver scum, I don't wanna see you sucking your thumb, this is Endeavor, not Mitsubishi, and it matters not a whit if what I spit is PC, I'm back. It matters not a whit if what I spit is PC, I'm passion incarnate, backs up the wall, mate, when I write a rhyme it's all smashed to sulfate. I can't remember how the next line goes. But yeah, like, it's stuff that, like, barely makes sense or doesn't make sense at all, because I was just going for flow. Because I just love this syllable sound, like that Technotronic, you know, move to the rhythm, go with the flow. You know how it goes, know what you got to show. Pump it up like it ain't no thing. Jump around to the sound we bring. And you can miss the count or lose the beat. You do it all the time and don't stop your feet moving to the rhythm of the song. Everybody's party once so long. Get on the floor where the action is. You can't get on down about your business. When I'm old, I hope to be sold. The truth's unfolding, stories told. If you into that, say no more. And now we're shocking the rock in the floor. Move to the rhythm, go with the flow. You know what you got to show. Now let's go. That elastic rap flow, loved it from the very start. And so it's only been the last few years that I've actually tried to also have good lyrics along with the flow. But like, that's where my priorities are, you know. If the lyrics are just like A to B, I just fucking fall asleep. That's why I have to have, you know, like, crazy flows in the songs. I write verses and I'm always just like trimming out everything that isn't crazy. Like, fill him a lid. I descended him from the heavens to get him a bit. Venomous, spit in his hit it, then I hit him, spin him dizzy, I pit the rhythm, picky, be ever with me, expectable, never take you forever, wreck with epiphany. The city will know I hit him when I'm spitting the sizzle and hopping the beat and make a fizzle and deliver him bitter. The cynic is mad, better be rid of, leaving him living, but lifted a level, levitating the minute, waiting for finish, set up, be heavily. Stepping to my body, come dwelling, and never free is liberating instead of a minute. So you gotta be saying, stepping to my body, hit the rhythm, you never see. She's just like, if I'm just recording demos, and if I listen to the demo back and I am not amazed, then I just rewrite it. Like, I gotta amaze myself, because otherwise if I'm just like, it's no freaking good. Because like, a lot of rap that I hear is just kind of like that. It's just like, and the lyrical content may be great, but I'm just like, no, you gotta like fucking spin my head around. You gotta make it so I don't even know which direction I'm facing time I'm done listening. Like, otherwise, it's just not exciting. Syncopation, also the greatest thing ever. So apparently I've been influential in the Brony rap scene, which is like 5 people, so that's pretty cool, I guess. It's sort of trippy to know you've made a legacy. Like, with Angel Loader, I'm starting to see now new missions that are coming out. They've got in their readmes like, oh, works with FM Cell and Angel Loader, and I'm like, this is kind of surreal. Like, it's just them mentioning that it works with my loader, but it's like, I came into the Thief community way back in 05, just to play Thief 2X. And I didn't talk much, though, for like another decade or something. But, yeah, and I saw like Dark Loader and Garrett Loader. It was all just like, you come into a community and everything's legendary, right? Like, everything just seems like super old and like, you know, steeped in tradition and all that, and steeped in legend, and everyone's just like a legendary deity figure, you know? And so now I've made a loader and it's being mentioned casually in readmes and everyone will see it till the end of time, and I'm like, wow, that's kind of mad. Kind of mad, bro. End statement. But yeah, I have to say, I've been checking out more Baby Metal videos. Like, I don't know if that post was supposed to be like a weird birthday greeting or something, but I'm actually really digging it. And the choreography's really good, and like, holy shit, those sets and screens must cost a fortune. Also, there's this one song of theirs that's basically 2 Unlimited metal. It's just awesome. It's just the most incredible thing that I've ever heard since, like, I realized that every 2 Unlimited song is exactly the same. But you know what? I used to love that as a kid. It was exactly right for a kid. It was big, dumb, and catchy, right? But I've taken certain elements from 2 Unlimited, not the rap. The rap in 2 Unlimited is, like, not very good. But I didn't care back then. Right? But the melodies, they always would use a different lead synth. They would almost never use a similar sounding synth. There's, like, 3 songs that they ever released that maybe have similar sounding synths, and the rest of them are all, like, completely different. So that's the way I always ended up liking my songs, is, like, on... you know, like, a lot of times on... See, going back to metal... Yeah, let's backtrack a bit. Going back to metal... Metal was born from experimentation. You listen to the early proto-metal stuff, like Sabbath's first couple of albums, or Led Zeppelin, or, like, those other... I can't quite remember the other bands that were also proto-metal, because I haven't been, like, a super huge metalhead in a while. I'm forgetting my history. But, yeah. And, you know, like Deep Purple, yeah. You listen to that stuff, it's like wild experimentation, particularly Sabbath. It's like all kinds of genres. Like, they were just trying shit. There wasn't any codification yet, but then eventually metal gets codified, kind of in the 80s, starts to get codified, and there starts to be like a way that metal should sound. And again, like, there's kind of a lot of snobbery, or at least there was. Yeah, I wouldn't know if there is, but there was in that community I was in anyway. But you know what? Like, I've heard in the last few years, I've went looking for new metal music. Not new metal, but new metal. And just to see what's happening. And a lot of it sounds really samey to me, because a lot of it is just seems to be like sticking to the metal formula, because it's like how metal's supposed to sound. And the structure is like the same as it's been for decades, and the riffs are the same as they've been for decades. And I'm just like, this is why I love bands like Maximum the Hormone so freaking much, and why I've been really digging Baby Metal, particularly their latest album, because it's just like a mashup of genres. They don't care what you think, right? They're just like, we like all this stuff. We're just gonna put it into music, and it's just gonna flow, and it's gonna work, and it's great. And MTH particularly are amazing at mixing genres you wouldn't think would be able to flow together. So, what was this having to do with whatever I was just saying? What was I just saying? Backing up's a bad idea. You might hit the flower pot and it'll smash, and then your fortune will be bad for 7 minutes. Not 7 years, just 7 minutes. That's a little known bad luck with a flower pot. Nobody really ever mentions it because 7 minutes is not really a big deal. You can wait it out by standing under a doorway and playing Tetris on your phone. Oh yeah, 2 Unlimited and how all the lead synths are different. So 2 Unlimited song structure and like the beat was always the same, but the lead synth sounded different to me, and that's so that all their songs always sounded different, and that's the way I like my albums, where all the songs sound distinct, like really distinct, and a lot of metal, it's easy to just kind of have it sound the same. Like you got your classic 4 instruments and 4 guitar, bass, vocals, and drum. Yeah, I guess so. And you make your, like your vocals are all the same style and stuff. But I like albums that really just mix it up, and that's been a little bit of a controversial view sometimes, I suppose. So, but. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm glad that bands, and even Devin Townsend of late, his latest album, Empath, is just fantastic. Might even be my favorite album. I mean, it's hard to top Epicloud and Addicted, but Empath is amazing. I've said amazing like so many times, I think it's illegal for me to say it again. I don't want to go to the jail for people who are perpetually amazed at everything. Oh, I said amazed, not amazing. I didn't finish the word. But yes, it's a total mix of genres. You got sort of death metal-y stuff, and then you got, what is it, like musical song stuff, like a musical theater production style stuff. You got soft stuff and hard stuff and melodic stuff, and it's just, I am really liking that direction, because I don't see why it should be all genre segregated. Like, yeah, I mean, sometimes you want to hear just one thing, and there's something to be said for purity of a sound, absolutely, but there's no reason that should have to be the only thing that ever exists. And so this is kind of part of the reason why I just sort of left metal-ish. Like, I still like metal, but I no longer call myself a metalhead, because I'm just like, I just wanted to go broader, and at that time it seemed like people weren't really wanting to go broader, but I'm kind of into it now.